All right, cool. So the thing, I've been very intrigued and just fascinated by this idea of 1,000 true fans, and more recently the law of category, as I've been like, I started blogging in 2011 and did it quite miserably for a number of years, and just kind of learned a lot just about what to do and a lot of what not to do as I was trying to like build build an audience and get people to follow the work that I was doing. The things that I know now that I was doing wrong is that I was trying to build 1,000 true fans, but I wasn't doing that within the context of like being in a specific niche and like this idea of the law of category. And so when you think about just the, oh, this is, and this, let me show you this too. This is not it. These are all the tickets that we have to reply to. This right here, just mattragland.com/TOT. This is where you can find all these links. But the first one is just this 1,000 true fans. And Kevin Kelly, who was the co-founder of Wired and is a super interesting dude, wrote about this a long time ago in Internet Age, I think like 10 years ago. And it was his basic breakdown of the economy of 1,000 true fans, is that if you just very literally have, because we think about these grand audiences of scale and like, oh, I need 100,000 readers, I need 1,000,000 readers, I need all of this. But really, you may get to those levels, but all you really need is 1,000 true fans to like completely support your work. Now, that doesn't mean that, you might need 10,000 casual fans to find the 1,000 true ones. But if you have a system of monetizing for $100 a year, then that will pay you, $100,000 a year, and you can pretty much manage off of that, I would say.
If you can't, you don't need to be doing anything.
Or yeah, maybe you need to move. But I think in Nashville we could manage on $100K a year, depending on which neighborhood you live in. And that really got me thinking for a really long time about how to do this. And the numbers might change. You might need 2,000 true fans paying you $50. You may need 10,000 paying you 10. Is that right? Okay. Math was not my strong point, and then calculators became so wonderful. So that's really how I thought about like the economics of it. But when it came to actually finding those 1,000 true fans, I had a lot of trouble with that until I started to use thinking about it in terms of the law of category. And what the law of category basically says is that if you own the category that you want to be a thought leader and expert in, then you can get to that number relatively quickly. What is interesting about how Tim references it is that he'll say, in conjunction with 1,000 true fans, if you can break down your category so narrow and specific that you're basically the only person playing in it, then you become that clear expert. And when people find you, they're like, yes, finally, this is exactly what I've been waiting for. The way that I think about this now in relationship to how I've grown my YouTube channel is I started a channel in February of 2017, and I did about 8 months of videos pretty much every week. And about episode 55, just in the context of what had then become the weekly instead of daily vlog, I just talked about like, hey, this is how I kind of plan out my days and my weeks using the bullet journal. And at the time I had like a few hundred subscribers, and most views if I got over 100 views. I was like, this is fantastic. What a great video this was. And then this video got like 500 views, and I was like, okay. And I didn't really think too much more about it. I should have thought more about it at the time. but you know, I just kept putting out videos. And that one, at as the year drew to a close, I had like 600 subscribers, and that video was over 1,000 views now. It's my most popular video from the year. And so that is when I was like, okay, I'm going to make another video about this, and I'm going to make it really big and awesome, and I'm going to go all in on this like bullet journal. It's the end of the year, people are planning, and so let's just see what this does. And when I published it, like a few days after Christmas, I had 650 subscribers, and my hope was that that video would also get 1,000 views eventually, and would help me get to 1,000 subscribers. And it had 1,000 views in a day, which had never happened, and then by the end of the year, I had hit 1,000 subscribers. And so it took me 11 months to get to 1,000 subscribers, and then I got the next 1,000 in 3 weeks. And now I'm at 12,000 subscribers. And I've just, like, that's when that hit, I was like, this is literally all I'm going to do. There's nothing else that I'm going to do until this stops. And people would ask me, they're like, oh, it's nice you've had a couple of videos hit. Like, how long are you really going to do this, like, bullet journal thing? It's like, as long as it keeps getting me a lot of views and a lot of subscribers, I will keep doing this thing. Because, and I really tried to think about, like, how could I use the idea of a law of category to make, because bullet journal is a pretty competitive niche, like, way more than I thought at the time. And so, like, when I would go on, and you're probably going to get a lot more about, like, these kind of things on Keith's, but when I would go on YouTube, this is a trick, not a trick, a tactic? Should I say this on video? What I do is I find other people, good old Levi. So if I look at bullet journal, so there are nearly 1 million results on this, and this is lit. Amanda is like the queen of bullet journaling.
Can I interrupt you and ask a quick question?
You can.
What's
my time at? We don't have time for that. I have a wonderful set of videos that you can follow. But it's
just subscribed.
Yeah, it's just a way of, like, planning out your day. Now, what I noticed about a lot of these videos that I didn't really like myself, and I thought of a way of differentiating my content, is that I wasn't going to do that at the top. That just looks like all of this. I was going through this, and I'm like, this all looks like it takes way too long. I'm not going to do this. I was like, I'm a dude. What's this dude doing? So he never did another video after this. Thing's done 500,000 views. He never did another video about it after this. And this was a year ago. Maybe he has by now. But I started looking through this, and I was like, okay, because the video that I did that had taken off was, like, a lot of people said, and this was something I noticed, was like, oh, I really like how yours is kind of minimalist and, like, not worried about, which was very ironic, because I do like to draw. But they're like, I like how you don't make yours so artsy. I was like, yeah, no problem there. And so I noticed that there weren't many guys talking about bullet journaling, except for also this dude named Matt. So maybe it's a Matt thing. And that's when I just kind of started to notice more of the things that I could, like, niche my category down even further. Like, okay, bullet journaling is a really big niche that I'm not going to really compete with Amanda Lee, who has nearly 1 million or over 1 million subscribers. But I can make mine simpler. And not only that, if you watch bullet journal videos, which I did, if you watch anyone that you want to emulate / compete with, and you notice the things that they're doing that seem to, because you watch someone who's doing, like, something at a really high level, they're doing it for a reason. And so I tried to think about, like, why is he or she doing that? Why did it resonate? And how can I do it in my own way? So, there's overhead shots of all of these. Like, that's basically, just look at this one. Amanda actually does this really well, but oh no, I'm not watching the ad. Boo.
You haven't got YouTube Red yet?
What?
You haven't got YouTube Red yet? Gosh.
I did. I'm not
3
paying
seconds. Oh.
$15 for it.
I know.
Let's look at this one for Kendra.
Doesn't it just come with Google Play?
I don't know.
All Apple.
Okay, so pretty much most bullet journal videos are just this. Everything is. You never see Kendra. And you never like get that feeling of like, I know who this person is. And every scene as like, okay, I want to make that a little different. So everything that I did, like I always start, kind of talking about it, and I'll interject myself kind of throughout the video. So I wanted to make it more personal. I knew I had so I could say like, okay, I want to do bullet journaling. I'm going to make it more minimalist, and I'm a guy who's doing it when not many guys are. And in something that like if you did a demographic research of like who's watching bullet journal videos on YouTube, it's very strongly female. But now my audience has flipped to actually being slightly majority guys, which I did not expect, because that was not the case for the first several months. So I was able to like continually knock this category down of saying like, okay, it's bullet journaling, it's productivity, it's minimalist, and something that I really claim that in the videos, and I say, these are bullet journals for people who want to get their shit done, and that really resonates. And with this one, and I was able to see in the comments, when I saw this, I knew I was onto something, and that I had like reached an ideal niche. And so like when you think about these things, there's some books like these are all the things that kind of helped me think through over the years these different pieces. And I'm sure Keith is going to talk about this, but like competition is not your enemy. It's a sign of market viability. It shows that there's enough interest in it, but then you have to like continue to niche yourself down. Like it's not just enough to say like, I'm going to make some bullet journal videos. Like I'm going to make bullet journal videos, and they're going to be simple and straightforward and task oriented, and I'm going to like show a lot more of my personality than most people do. And so yeah, continuing to differentiate yourself, that's where off category comes in. I think that a lot of people worry about being too niche. I always because I talk with a lot of creators who are just getting started as a part of my role at Seva, and they're like, well, I think this is a little too niche. It's a little too weird. I was like, you should try it for like at least 6 months and see if you do something, because we have a new program where like if you're totally new, like we'll give you all these courses to get started, and people are like, well, do I really need this? It's like, no. If you pick a topic and you write or podcast or blog about it for a year, every week, you're going to be fine. Are you going to do that? Well, I don't know. I was like, well, this will help. So yeah, too niche is very rare. There are 2 posts up here from Sean Ogle and Pat Flynn that talk about like how to find specific niches, and then this part of combine niches to create a new category. That's where like when I combined all these 3 things together, like this is what I own. I can pretty confidently say I'm the #1 guy minimalist bullet journaler person on YouTube, and that feels kind of fun to say. It's like the people at the Pike Place Fish Market just eventually started saying like, yeah, we're the world famous Pike Place Fish Market, and what are you going to do about it? And it feels like even like you can create your own category to the point where like even if you're one of the few people there, because I could probably also say that I'm maybe the only person, which is a weird thing to think of. I'm the only guy on YouTube consistently posting bullet journal stuff. But there's a big enough demand for it, enough interest, that like I was able to combine those different things, and that's what I own now. I don't know, I didn't start timing myself, but I do think that like I think I know that pretty much everyone here has something specific that they're already really good at, but if you're not sure, I found that, like I said, it was episode 55 that I put the first video out, and then like 70-ish where I put out the big one, but I wouldn't have been able to see that like that first one took a spiked if I didn't like have all these other like just okay ones
You
to
could have
measure
stopped
them
at
against.
54.
Yeah. Following up with readers, viewers, listeners to see what they like and want to know more about. Like honestly, the main place that I like think about where to do new videos is just by seeing what people ask about in the comments. And they're like, oh, what'd you do? Like in that first one, they're like, oh, like what's the thing that you do with the blocks and the weeks and the things? I was like, oh yeah, well, I'll make another video about that. And they're like, oh, what do you do with that like grid over there? I was like, oh yeah, I'll make another video about that. Seek out communities and see common questions people are asking. This is a great hack. Like going, whether it's Reddit, Facebook groups, meetups, like find those like broad places where people are asking questions and just kind of look at what the common questions are, make a video about that. Have a way to make $100 from 1,000 people each year, and you want raving fans, not just lukewarm people who are just like, yeah, you know, kind of like, and that's what I had for years. They're like, you know, yeah. I think it was like, I call it the dinner party problem, the dinner party conversation that you're not a part of. It's like if someone comes up to you and they're like, hey, Clark, Matt said he had a blog. What is it, a channel? And like 5 years ago, I've been like, yeah, well, he does. He talks about like fitness some and productivity other times and stories. And he draws. Those are interesting. Yeah, he has a blog. And you're like, okay, cool, whatever. Like unless they really like me, then even then they probably like lots of friends. I never signed up. But like when you come and say like, hey, Matt has a YouTube channel, what's it about? Oh, he does bullet journal, productivity, like help you get shit done. They're like, what's bullet journaling? You'll have to watch some of his videos, and they'll be like, okay, that sounds interesting, and they'll go watch, or they'll just be like, eh. But when like you draw that line in the sand, then like you're giving people the opportunity to become a raving fan, because there's just not as much room. You know, like they're either gonna love what you're doing, or they're just gonna be like, eh, you know. But there's enough people who can become one of your true fans that you don't need to worry about getting stuck in the middle. The end.
Great. Cool. Great.